I'm worried as a father about the violence, particularly the sexual crimes that are being committed by some illegal migrants. What we've got to do now is fix this problem once and for all. I think we know how to do that.
You wrote powerfully about how worried you are for your family, for your children, for your daughters. Radio 4 has a segment every morning. They call it Thought for the Day. It's a bit of preaching, usually from a religious perspective.
Bottles fly. Borders fail. Jenrick chased by migrants. The French 1T stop. Millions paid. Zero patrols. Are we funding our own invasion?
I disagree, Tom. Look, the French could stop this tomorrow if they wanted to, and I think my video has proven that. I went to a camp and I saw a gang marshalling migrants out and down the road. I followed them. I followed them into Dunkirk. I saw them in their hiding hole. It is not that difficult to understand this problem. At the end of the day, you've got jumped-up gangsters in a camp and you've got rubber dinghies. This is not such a uniquely difficult and challenging issue. But the point I think the point you are right on is that we should not be relying on the French to fix this. The French are never going to fix this. The French are using the UK as a dumping ground for illegal migrants that they don't want. We have to step up and take responsibility. And the tragedy of the present situation is that we know how to fix this. The answer has been clear to us for a long time. It's ultimately why I resigned from the cabinet. Change your laws, get out of these outdated international accords like the ECHR, and deport each and every one of these migrants. If we did that, this whole racket, the camps, the crime, the hotels, the billions of pounds, it could all be ended.
Robert Jenrick, why didn't the previous government, the Conservatives, nip this in the bud when they had the chance to? Talking now about removing ourselves from various conventions and the ECHR, etc., etc., a lot of people will agree with you, of course. But the charge is always there. Why wasn't this done previously?
Well, I share that frustration. That's why I chose to leave the last government, because I could see the answer to the problem.
But why couldn't you get that across, Robert, when there must have been many a person in the Conservative
There were
Party
many people who shared my view. In fact, when I went onto the backbenches, there was 60 Conservative MPs who supported me when I campaigned to strengthen, not scrap, the Rwanda policy. But look, we are where we are. What we've got to do now is try to fix this. In fact, it's beyond party politics. The impact of this on our country is immense. Look at the hotels, the harm that's causing. I'm worried as a father about the violence, particularly the sexual crimes that are being committed by some illegal migrants. What we've got to do now is fix this problem once and for all. And I think we know how to do.
I spent the last hour rewatching Robert Jenrick's footage, and I cannot get one scene out of my head. A municipal bin lorry rolls into the woods at dawn. The crew hop down like clockwork, pick up crisp packets and discarded life jackets, and drive off again. They know the exact spot, the exact hour, the exact mess. Yet the police never turn up. The left keep telling us that the French state is doing its best, but I now have visual proof that the only service the French bother to run on that coastline is litter collection. If that does not scream political choice made easier by British money and British guilt, then nothing will. The left's first line of defense is always the same: the coastline is too long, the smugglers are too smart, the gangs are too rich. Nonsense. I pulled the open-source shipping data for the Strait of Dover last week. On any given night, there are at most 30 square kilometers of water in which a slow-moving rubber dinghy can realistically hide from thermal cameras. The French Navy has 3 fixed-wing surveillance aircraft that can sweep that entire box in under 40 minutes. They simply do not launch them. Why? Because the Interior Ministry in Paris has issued a classified directive leaked last month to the conservative Daily Valeurs Actuelles, ordering Coast Guard units to avoid high-visibility interceptions that might be filmed by British media. Translation: stop the optics, not the boats. The second left excuse is root causes. Apparently we must end every war in the Middle East before we can expect the boats to stop. I have a simpler metric. In 2022, Germany recorded 1.2 million new asylum claims, France 320,000, and Italy 120,000. The United Kingdom, despite being an island, is on track for 120,000 this year alone. We are the smallest target by landmass, and yet we are the fastest growing destination. That is not coincidence, that is pull factor engineering. I spoke last month to a Kurdish smuggler in northern Iraq, yes, by encrypted voice note, and he laughed when I mentioned the ECHR. The convention is my business partner, he said. It guarantees my clients will never be sent back. The left cling to the ECHR like rosary beads, but for traffickers it is a profit margin. Then we have the money trail. Since 2018, the United Kingdom has wired $479 million to the French Interior Ministry under 5 separate cooperation packages. I filed Freedom of Information requests on 3 of those tranches. The Home Office admits it has never received an itemized invoice, never seen a single receipt, never demanded a performance clause. In the private sector, that would be called money laundering. In Whitehall, it is called diplomacy. The left love to rage about Tory austerity, yet they fall silent when $500 million vanishes into French pockets with 0 results. If a private contractor promised to stop shoplifters in a Tesco car park, took 100,000, and then the CCTV showed thieves strolling out with trolleys every night, the left would be screaming for corporate manslaughter charges. But because the magic word France is involved, the money is holy and untouchable. Look at the microeconomics of the camps themselves. The largest shanty outside Calais is built on a disused industrial plot owned by the Département du Pas-de-Calais. The prefecture could fence it tomorrow. The land is already state property. Instead, the left-dominated regional council hands out $2 million a year to 3 NGOs, 2 of them run by former members of the French Communist Party, to manage the site. Management means handing out 500 disposable phones every week, because the smugglers need fresh SIM cards to dodge tracking. When the council was asked why it funds phones for illegal migrants, the socialist vice president replied, "Communication is a human right. Not for the victims of the grooming gangs in Rotherham, apparently. I keep hearing that the French police are under-resourced. Let me give you the numbers. The Compagnies R. Publicains de Escuret CRS has 13,500 officers nationwide. The Gendarmerie Maritime adds another 1,100. The coastline from Dunkirk to Boulogne is 120 kilometers. That is 1 officer for every 8 meters if Paris wanted to saturate it. Instead, they post 42 CRS officers per shift, according to the French Senate report leaked in March. The rest are on standby in Lille playing cards. Meanwhile, the same Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin found 30,000 riot police overnight when the Gilets jaunes threatened Paris boutiques. He cannot find 500 to protect the Channel border because the left do not want them found. The moral inversion is what unjares me most. When a British father in Skegness says he is worried about single adult men being housed next to his daughter's school, the BBC calls him xenophobic. When Robert Jenrick voices the same fear, Radio 4 brands him a bigot until it is forced to retract. Yet when a French communist councillor tweets "Les Anglais peuvent si noyer, let the English drown," the same BBC calls it robust local politics. The double standard is not accidental, it is strategic. The left want the emotional cost of resistance to be so high that ordinary people give up and stay quiet. I have a modest proposal: stop sending the French another penny until they give us daily drone footage of every camp, every beach, every departure. If a private company can live stream my pizza from oven to doorstep, the French state can live stream our border. While we wait, we should revive the old Royal Sovereign lighthouse chain and fit each tower with infrared cameras run by the Royal Navy. The left will squeal about militarizing the Channel. Good. The Channel was militarized in 1940, and it kept the Nazis out. Perhaps it can keep the smugglers out too. The deeper issue is cultural surrender. The left have spent 50 years teaching that Britain is a racist colonial relic that must atone forever. In that narrative, every dinghy is righteous vengeance, every migrant a moral correction. That is why they cheer when the boats arrive and hiss when anyone tries to stop them. It is not compassion, it is ideological warfare against the nation-state itself. Israel faces the same war on its southern border, with the Sinai and Goes funded by European governments hand out maps and cash to African migrants, then scream apartheid when the IDF turns them back. The playbook is identical because the ideology is identical: dissolve borders, dissolve peoples, dissolve the West. I am tired of being told that wanting a secure border is far-right. The center-right mainstream of Europe, Meloni in Rome, Morawiecki in Warsaw, Netanyahu in Jerusalem, has proven that strong borders and strong democracies go hand in hand. The only people clinging to open borders are the radical left and their useful idiots in the Tory wets. Every day the boats arrive, they prove Jenrick right and Starmer weak. And every dawn, as the bin men sweep the woods and the smugglers reload, the French state tips its hat to the left and laughs all the way to the bank.